Hello, this video brought to you by Sankran. Visualforce Beyond Basics series 5 ways to AJAX calls. What is AJAX calls? Traditionally, around 20 years back, the web pages were very static and the JavaScript was used to only handle the user interaction and error handling. Basically, to just validate the form inputs and few basic animations. But later on, the JavaScript was used to make a post call, post request to server, and to handle them asynchronously because the interaction with server may take like a few seconds. So until that, the browser could do some process. So that's why it needs to handle them asynchronously and do the screen updates or the message interaction to the user in very apt way rather than just blocking the user from their interaction. For that purpose, web standards introduced something called XML HTTP request, which opened the gate for building a very dynamic interactive web pages which we have today. So that's all the basics about AJAX mechanism. Uh, why is it required? Because modern webs are all very dynamic and handles different interactions, very rich UI applications which interacts with server very often and gives you the rich functionality just like the native desktop applications. It's all possible only through AJAX. Otherwise, during the first page load, really it's not possible to get all the data, get all the business logic into the browser. So normally the home page, like when you select a link and when the page gets loaded, you get a very minimal functionalities. And during the process, like when user clicks something or when user type in some value in some test box, things like that, you normally do some interaction with server to process that. That's called in layman word, that's called AJAX technique. In Visualforce, we could do that by silently. Visualforce is already doing those things through command button, command action, and all those action functions. It's all abstracted, so we don't know that they are under the bonnet they are doing it. So including all those things, I have given like 5 ways. Apart from that, you can do through JavaScript. First method is called remote objects, which it gives the access to models like all the S objects, so you can use them in JavaScript. Then the second one is action functions, which is nothing but an action function inside the controller so that you can use it. And remote object is nothing but JavaScript remoting. Again, you can use that in JavaScripts. You can directly do the SOAP API call through some libraries. In a minute, I will go through that. And then REST API, again, it uses library. So let's see each example quickly. Remote objects, like I said, you have a remote object tag and you need to specify which opportunity, which S object you are referring. And basically what I've done is in all these examples, I'm going to do only one purpose, one requirement, that is getting 10 opportunity and displaying in the page. Same functionality, but I'm going to achieve in different ways. The first way is through remote objects. Like I mentioned, you need to use these two tags, and in JavaScript, I have retrieved those records. You can go through this code and see how it's working. And then action function. Action function is like we need to create an action function with a name, and then we can use that name in the JavaScript to render the page. Again, you can go through this code. And remote method, like I said, it's a JavaScript remoting. In the Apex class, I have declared get opportunity as a remote JavaScript remote action, so that you can use that in JavaScript library. Again, you can go through below where I have given the class JavaScript remote action. And then comes bit bit wider, and not many people use this SOAP API. For SOAP API, there are two libraries, connection.js and apex.js. It's a standard library provided by Salesforce. We can use that, and we need to pass the session ID, and in the end of the apex object we have a execute method through which we can execute a web service. Again, this web service is declared in apex class as a web service. You can go through this code and understand how it works. So just using this two library, we can do a SOAP API call. And REST API, again, I'm using the force TK library, which I have added as a static resource. You can Google for that, force TK, and you can get that library, and you can upload into your org, and it will work. And it depends on jQuery, so you need to give this link. Again, just by giving this link, it will work. By doing like this, creating a client and setting a session ID, and then using a query method, you can do the same logic in JavaScript. So, and this is the class having a remote action function, and then having a remote action method and a web service method. That's all. So it's all simple, and it just gives you an idea of different ways you can use the AJAX calls from JavaScript in Visualforce. And yep, uh, thank you. Don't forget to like this video and provide your comments or feedbacks below. If you like this video and want to share with friends, please share them. And if you want to notify about my future videos, please subscribe below. Thank you.